Hello and welcome to the Lofty Entrepreneur Podcast. I am Tanisha Coffey, aka the Lofty Entrepreneur. Thanks for joining me. Now, as always, we are providing the best tips, tools, advice, and inspiration for aspiring entrepreneurs out there and new entrepreneurs. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to click now to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Now, you guys asked and I listened. You wanted to know how to capitalize on social media networks. So today we're going to do just that. My guest today is Mr. Julbert Abraham, better known on the business circuit as the LinkedIn guy. He's the founder of AGM, a B2B training company that focuses solely on LinkedIn. And since 2013, AGM has worked with over 600 clients across 4 continents, helping them to use LinkedIn better. Additionally, Julbert is the author of the book 7 Steps to 7 Figures Using LinkedIn. He's also the host of the Small Biz Tips podcast, which is available on iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher, where he's interviewed founders from some of America's fastest growing companies. Long story short, he is an expert on helping clients generate and close more business on LinkedIn. And today we're getting the golden nuggets from him. Hi, Julbert. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Wow. That was such an amazing introduction. Thank you, Tanisha. I love it.
You're amazing. You're amazing. Couldn't be anything else.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited. I'm excited to share some gems. Anything I can do to help your audience, I'm down. Let's go.
Absolutely. All right. So everybody thinks that Facebook and Instagram is all the rage. And I'm not going to lie, they are great platforms to definitely find clients, generate leads, Facebook groups, just the connections, the availability of data. It's wonderful, right? It's very active. However, Facebook isn't always the best platform for every type of business. It really depends on what you're trying to do, who you're trying to reach. So then enter LinkedIn. And a lot of people really think that LinkedIn is all, kind of very stuffy and just, kind of not really a social media platform. And admittedly, it's changed over the years. It's definitely had some different strides and changes. So the first thing I want to kind of talk about is some of the features that LinkedIn has as it relates to a social media platform that people really are not using at all, that they should be tapping into.
Absolutely. First, I agree 100%. Facebook, Instagram, amazing platforms. I've used them as well. LinkedIn, a lot of people sleep on it. It's been around for more than 15 years, 774 million professionals worldwide on the platform, 55 million plus companies. What makes LinkedIn, and when it comes to the social aspect, is the ability to put out content, right? So it's not just like another site where you go and find jobs, like a lot of people think it is, like a resume holder. It's a place where you can market yourself and your business. I mean, we have clients that have grown their business past 7 figures from LinkedIn. We have clients, one connection brought him over $250,000 in business. So think about it, one person, right? So create that opportunity where some of the features that I think are crucial is the ability to write content, the ability to shoot and share videos, the ability to do LinkedIn polls. This one right now, it's major because with run polls, you can reach such a massive audience. And you can kind of figure out what your audience want by just asking them a simple question. Then that create an opportunity for you to create leads for your business as well. So it's a real simple, organic way to create leads consistently. Just post a post every week.
So I want to pick this apart a little bit, right? So obviously, the basic profiles, people can post anything they want. And that's what you're referring to right now, right?
Yeah.
But then also you mentioned about the ability for it to have greater reach. Yes. And so there's opportunities for people to put articles on there, right?
Absolutely.
And if they're using, some kind of SEO keywords in those articles, and then the fact that LinkedIn is considered an authority website, what happens, right?
It get indexed right into Google. I'll give you an example. Back in 2017, I published several articles that got indexed onto Google searches. So when you were searching on Google, you find some of my articles on the first page. And all that was is because I had great keywords in the article, from the title to the body to the end. And I've gotten leads that turn into client. I think one of the articles I made 12 grand. Think about it. Nice. One article, you made 12 grand because I published it. Somebody saw it, took advantage of the call to action, book a meeting with me. We spoke and we're able to help them.
Absolutely. All right. So LinkedIn polls, that's a new one for me. So
Yeah.
I hadn't heard about that. Is that a newer feature or is that just something I've been sleeping on?
It's something you've been sleeping on. LinkedIn polls been around now for about a year.
Okay.
Right? So
As long as you didn't say
it's
like
not too long.
as long as you didn't say like 5 years, 10 years. Okay, I
Nah,
feel
nah,
better
nah,
about
nah,
that.
nah,
Okay.
nah. It's right now LinkedIn favor polls a whole lot, and I'm noticing through different experiment for myself, my clients, and some of my peers that the polls has a lot of reach. And what I mean by polls is you can go on your LinkedIn account where you would post, you will see where it says polls. You write a question that would benefit your audience. You could ask them, what's your did you, are you have you planned your goal for 2022? Yes or no? And anybody that respond yes, if you're in that space where you can help them, oh great, tell me more. If they said no, oh great, when would you like to set up some time and I can help you plan out your goals, right? So a simple question like that allow you to get people to engage with your content.
Right. Okay, that's amazing. All right, so we got the articles option, we have obviously posting, we have the polls,
Videos,
the
yeah.
ability to put videos up there, which of course have great reach. People, not everybody likes to read these days anymore. Search engines like to quote unquote read your content, but people like to watch. So that's a great
Absolutely.
way. Any other features, major
Yeah,
features?
images, just in the content side alone, you can even have like a newsletter and get subscribers. So not only publishing your articles, but getting people to subscribe to the articles. And now you have a following or a tribe that read your content every week or every month, whichever way you want to be consistent with it. Another feature a lot of people have been slipping on that I use heavily is LinkedIn events. You can have webinar events, seminar events, and be able to track the people that are signing up for that event, reach out to them afterward. You could do so much with that. You have LinkedIn Live. Not everyone have access to that, but that's another way to really have, it's like imagine you being on the main stage and be able to talk to anyone and everyone. Carousels images where you have people engaging with a group of content that you posting. That's just on the content side alone. I didn't even get into the profile, being able to use the feature section to share your offering or the recommendation section, right? And that's just all free. We didn't get into the paid LinkedIn yet.
Right, we're going to get there. Don't take them there just yet. All right. So those are all amazing things. Now, since you mentioned the profiles, I want to talk about this because there's option for follower, to have, to connect with people versus follow, a creator profile versus, a general profile. Now, in which situation is you're a business, these are all entrepreneurs, is a, kind of connection, general profile, great. But in which case would you want to switch over, or would it be better to switch over to a follower or creator profile and have followers instead?
That's a good question. So think about it this way. If you're an entrepreneur, and you love putting out content and that's your form of marketing, you love to educating people when it comes to what you offer, product or service, then I would recommend creator mode, because now people can follow you and they can consume your content, and you have a higher chance of your content being seen by more people, right? If you turn on creator mode right on your profile and be able to start putting out content consistently, LinkedIn structure your profile in a way that it prioritize your content. So if that's you, go for it. That's your form of marketing, go all in, right? But if you're more of an entrepreneur who's not like an operator, more like just an entrepreneur and managing kind of like the business and the team, and you may not have time or you don't have a staff that can put out content consistently, you're focused more on structuring deals and so forth, then you may not need to put creator mode on because you're not going to really use it. You could just leverage the connection ability of just connecting with people on a one-on-one basis, build that network and build those relationships.
Right. All right. Awesome. Now, just like Facebook, LinkedIn, I'm hearing so many parallels. So all of you who are doing things on Facebook, if you're not seeing the returns there that you're looking for, or if you're feeling like your audience may not quite be there, you know, pay attention, because it's not so different over here at LinkedIn, right? Now, what about business page versus profile? You know, how should people be working that?
Yeah. So, and I see a lot of people make that mistake as well. Like they'll have a profile and they don't have a business page or a company page on LinkedIn. And they're kind of like, I'm a small business, I don't need it. And honestly, I think you do, because the company page help brand the business, right? The personal page, your profile brands you as a person. The company page brand the organization. So if you want to build a brand where you don't necessarily have to be the face of the brand, then I would recommend heavily to build that company page. It's not going to be a build as fast as your personal page, but build it, and over time you can build a following there as well. Now, the way I would recommend to use the company page in addition to building a brand, it's great for recruiting. If you're planning to grow your business, you're gonna planning to hire team members. Guess what? You could have a whole community. When you're looking to hire people, you're not the one vetting them, they're vetting you as well. So your company page become that marketing tool where you can actually, they can vet your organization to see, okay, if this the type of culture that I want to be part of. The third part that a lot of people missed out on is the power to advertise. LinkedIn allow you to advertise on the platform, and that means you get to tap into that 770 million plus professionals, 55 million plus companies. The beauty with the company page, that's where all the ads are done. So if you have a company page, I can literally pick companies that I want to see my ad. That's what made LinkedIn, because I can list out 10 of the top companies in the world. And I said, okay, I want my video ad to be seen by every employees at those company every single day. And I can do that with LinkedIn. And that is powerful.
Yes. Okay. So I love that, because my mind is kind of going on that, because I know that you can obviously, you know, run the ads, but that's something that you really cannot do on Facebook.
No.
You know, it's more, you know, it's more interest based. It doesn't have that component.
Yeah, you have, you know, Facebook is great. You have the geo fencing, you have you can do by certain geographic location, but being able to literally, I can pick Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple. I can literally say, okay, I want my ads to be seen by every VP and every director at these companies. Because it's first party data on LinkedIn, I can easily do that every day.
That's a beautiful thing. All right. So I want to, one more question about the business page, and then we're going to move into some of the paid advertising options, right?
Okay.
All right. So on the business page, you mentioned about it takes longer to build a following. How do you build a following? Because, you know, typically when you're connecting, it's through your personal profile. So how do you begin to do that with your business page to build?
That's a really good question. There's two ways you can build a following. One, you can pay for it. So you can run certain LinkedIn ads and they will build the following automatically over time, right? The other way is LinkedIn gives you the ability, when you own your business company page, you can send an invitation to people within your network to follow that page. So if you already have a network, like say 500 people, you can vet through that 500 and say, okay, those 100 people out of those 500 or potential clients, I want them to follow my company page. I want them to see content that we're posting on the company page. You can easily target them and just invite them to follow the page. So that's a simple way to do it. LinkedIn gives you 100 credit every month. So if you're looking at, it's 1,200 credit for the year. So every month, if you're sending 100 invitation to someone in your network to follow the company page, you can easily have 1,000 new followers by the end of the year. And guess what? Those are not any 1,000 followers. These are targeted thousands followers. These are past leads, potential leads, past clients, current clients, seeing your content in their newsfeed organically every single day.
All right, guys, I need you to really hear that point. All right, because he didn't say just do, you know, kind of a rapid spray and anybody and everybody you see on LinkedIn, invite them to this page. No, you are essentially building a community of followers, and you can build that community of people on your followers on your page, so they know everything that's happening with your business, whether you're promoting something, teaching something, no matter what. And then that means that kind of builds that warm relationship, right? You know, so it's a little different. And then we didn't talk about it. We have the LinkedIn groups. So that's another feature that's there.
I'll share. Can I share a quick nuggets on LinkedIn groups?
Absolutely.
So a lot of people sleep on LinkedIn groups because they're like, oh, LinkedIn groups is not as good as it used to be. It's very spammy. But guess what? LinkedIn groups are very niche communities. I'll give you an example. One of our clients, financial service firms, he is huge baseball fan. This guy loves baseball. So when we started working with him with LinkedIn, we're like, hey, why don't you build relationship with people you already have something in common with? And that was baseball. And so, well, how am I going to find people that love baseball? We said, let's do a search for LinkedIn groups. And guess what? We find several LinkedIn groups where they have people that love baseball. Now, the beauty about these groups, the people that love baseball, they're not just anybody. These are entrepreneurs, right? And right out from one of these groups, he got 2 meetings with 2 guys that own 2 $10 million companies. Think about that. That came from baseball, right? Just their love for baseball, they were able to connect. It wasn't about selling his services as a financial advisor. It was just having a conversation about baseball. And that led to opportunity.
Very nice. So again, so some of the ways that some people may be using Facebook groups, you can do the exact same thing on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
But you have, you know, the platform itself is more focused on professional versus social. Now, how do you kind of separate? Because LinkedIn, yes, there are entrepreneurs, yes, there are business owners on there, but there are also people, again, you know, people used to use it mostly for their resume and when they were ready to make a job switch. So how do you be organically, because I know obviously you can do it through organically, how do you begin to kind of separate, you know, when you're doing that targeting, you know, the people who are kind of working somewhere versus the entrepreneurs?
Absolutely. Well, the search functionality on LinkedIn is huge. It's like think of it like a Google for professionals, right? So that search bar on top, any keywords that you're looking for, you're able to find it. So you can do a search based on what kind of content people are posting. And that way you can kind of identify the right people you want to connect with based on what they're talking about. You can do that same search for title base. So anybody that's, you know, president of XYZ companies or specific industry, you can dive into the searches and you can do that with the free LinkedIn account. And if you want to take it deeper, then you're looking at an account like a LinkedIn Sales Navigator, where now you can target companies by size, by revenue, the one that got funding in the past 12 months, people that posted in the past 30 days. So now you get really granular and you start identifying key people that you want to work with or talk to.
All right, that's awesome. All right, so enough of that organic. I want to get into the meat. Okay, let's get into this paid advertising, the power of that. So there's a couple different options. So you know, just kind of, you mentioned LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So let's talk about that. Tell me a little bit about that feature.
So you have the free LinkedIn account. That's what we've been spending time talking about. Then LinkedIn makes money several different ways, right? They make money with ads. They make money with their subscriptions. And in the subscription, they have one if you're looking to recruit, that's called Recruiter Lite. They have one if you're job searching, right? And they have one if you're looking to prospect for business. That's called LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Now, the misconception for a lot of people is, I'm going to buy Sales Navigator, I'm going to turn it on, and all the leads going to come to me, and I'm going to make tons of money. It doesn't work like that. What it does, it gives you access to a database of people and companies and the timing that they're in, right? So if you're working with a company that you know when they're hired a new GM, that's the best time to reach out to them because they can end up working with you. Then you're able to identify that with Sales Navigator. They'll tell you an alert, this company just hired a new GM. It's time for you to reach out to them. So that timing factor is being taken care of. Then also, if you're looking to work with company in certain size, if you say, hey, I want a company that's doing 5 to 10 million in revenue, 20, 25 million, Sales Navigator gives you access to that. So you can identify companies with that type of revenue so you can reach out to them as well. So it's the ability to go a little bit more granular on your targeting, which is very beneficial because then you can build a pipeline on Sales Navigator of the right people that you want to do business with.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's pretty great. What about, let's spot check, because that is, targeting kind of the, 10 million, 25 million, that's bigger. What about if you're not quite ready for that? Maybe you're a smaller business, and you're looking to do business with other small business.
Yeah.
Can you find that with Sales Navigator as well?
Absolutely. You can, I mentioned the revenue side. One thing I didn't mention is you can target by company size too. So, and also by time they've been in business, right? So you can target companies that has less than 10 employees that have been in business for a year, for less than a year. Now imagine if you only work with new businesses and being able to target companies that just started out, less than a year old, and you have like a bunch of brand new, fresh companies that you can target. That's massive opportunity because then you can help these companies, help these businesses go to the next level.
Right. And I got to say that is a huge thing, especially for those who like to work with new businesses, you graphic designers out there, brand, video marketers, everybody who likes to tap into those people who need all that initial stuff, starting off. That's huge.
Can I give a nugget?
Yes, please.
So if you're a designer, right, a graphic designer, and you're looking to work with people that are just starting out a business, go on Sales Navigator, do a search, right? First thing you do, put US and then put owner and title, and then go into company size, do self-employers or 1 to 10 employees, and then experience, do less than a year, right? And then the last piece I want you to do is go where it says spotlight and do posted in the past 30 days. Once you put these little features in place, LinkedIn gonna spit out all the business owners that are brand new with a brand new company who's been posting on LinkedIn in the past 30 days. Your job now is to look at some of these posts and then go to their website, see if they even have a website or even if they have a logo, and then reach out to them and say, hey, here's how I think what you can do to put your brand out better. I love your content. How would you like to 10x what you're doing? Who do you think gonna say no to that?
Absolutely. And what about, can they use, say for, if they're looking for people who are kind of in transition, right? So maybe they're not a B2B business. Maybe they're B2C, business to consumer. Is Sales Navigator effective for that audience as well?
Yeah, of course. Because think about it, it's all first party data, right? So it's us putting our information in there in Sales Navigator's artificial intelligence system, just arrange it in a way that it makes sense to us, right? So if you're a B2C company, absolutely you can be on LinkedIn. What I recommend to B2C companies, let's say you're a clothing brand, right? You selling, you have your own brand of t-shirts and sweats, and you might be doing great with your website, but you may say, hey, I want my brand to be at Macy's or Target. That's where you would use LinkedIn, because now you can tap into Target's employee base and identify the buyers for your area that focus on the type of brand that you offer, right? So now you're able to, as a B2C company, use LinkedIn to get in the door. So that's one example. Let's say you said, hey, I want to get more press, or I want to find other podcast hosts where I can be on their podcast so I can get more visibility, or I want to do more B2B and sell wholesale, right? Like we have a client that we're going to be working with, where they're focusing on, they have a product for spas, right? They want us wholesale to spa owners. Guess what? We're going to help them use LinkedIn to do that. So it's so many ways to use the platform. The only thing that's stopping you is your imagination, right? And it's coming up with a strategy that works for you. You may say, oh, I have a B2B, I have an e-commerce, I don't need LinkedIn. No, you'd be surprised what you can do with the platform. You may not want to sell direct to consumer, but you might be able to wholesale.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So did you hear that word? He said my S word, strategy, right?
Yes.
Right? You have to have your strategies in place. But once you have that strategy in place, once you figure out that intention, what do you intend to do? What's your goal? And you put it
Hmm.
together with a strategy and then a mind like Julbert, do you
You're
hear the
good.
power of what he's pushing to you? Do you hear it? Right? All right. So now I want to touch on something because
Yes.
LinkedIn, we're talking about using Sales Navigator. You know, some of the
Hmm.
methods earlier, the free, the business page, all that, that's more organic, right?
Yeah.
And you're reaching out to people. When you do reach out, it's more of a softer approach versus
Hmm.
Sales Navigator. Obviously, you can do, you know, a softer approach, but let's be real, people are trying to prospect. So
Yep.
let's talk about prospecting etiquette on LinkedIn. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's the best way? Should you try to sneak in, or should you just be like, look, this is what I got? You know,
It depends on a couple things. It depends on your sales cycle. It depends on your industry. It depends on your audience, right? So I'll give you a couple strategies. One strategy, if you're more like, I'm more of a soft sell type of person, I'm not too aggressive, put out content. Anybody that engage with your content, follow up with them with a DM, right? Plain and simple. If you said, I'm more of a little harder, aggressive type of person, use Sales Navigator, identify people with the right timing, and present to them an opportunity where you can help them. All right. If you said you don't have the time, but you really want to take this to another level, that's when you use pay ads, because you can literally, and we do this all the time, we generate about 200 to 300 leads a month from LinkedIn by running ads. People fill out a form. We have our virtual assistant follow up with them, book a meeting with me, or even invite them to one of our free masterclass or Q&A group calls. And from that, after that, they end up booking a meeting with me, and $7,000 later, they're a client. $10,000 later, they're a client. So it's all about that audience, right? You got to know your audience. Like literally, you got to know who you're talking to. You got to know what pissed them off, what they're happy about, their pain points, and so forth. You got to have good timing. All right,
mm-hmm.
timing is crucial. Then you got to be open to test, because if you don't know certain things, you don't expect it to get right in the first time, right? You got to make mistakes, and that's okay. It's all learning experience, right? Like, I've been doing this for 8 years, and it's still a lot to learn, right? So even though we've worked with 600 plus companies, different industries, different countries, we're still learning, right? And we're still making mistakes. So don't be afraid to make mistakes and learn, because once you figure out what works well for you and you have a system down pat, you're set. It's really just rinse and repeat, and you can easily scale your business that way. So whatever company you have, figure out how LinkedIn can be part of your process if it makes sense, and you know your target audience on here, or a different target audience that you can really capitalize on. Then go all in, create your strategy, create your plan, have some system in place, and really start experimenting. And don't be afraid to give this at least a year to make it work for you, you know?
And I want to talk about expectations. So we talked a
Mm-hmm.
little bit before about, you know, being ready and willing to test, because things aren't necessarily going to work out your first go. You have to work out your messaging, your
Yep.
targeting, all of that, what's going to work best for you and your audience. But also communication wise. A lot of people will say, you know, Facebook is faster. People are more active in the groups and things like that. So yeah, you can get more feedback. Or even when you're, that's if you're trying to work organically. If you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
run ads, again, it's still a more active platform. LinkedIn seems to have a little bit slower kind of
Yeah.
vibe to it. So is that correct, one, or is that a totally incorrect, presumption? And if so, if it is correct, what should people expect?
Good. That's a really good observation. And it depends on how well you built your audience on LinkedIn, right? Because sometimes you can put a post and you have nobody likes it, but a lot of people are watching you, right? So that's something you got to be mindful of. And it's how well, not only you putting out content, but how are you engaging with other people's content. If you've been engaging with everybody's content every single day, let's say you comment 2 3 times a day on different posts, you're putting something out, and you organically you're building that audience, you building relationship with these people, then it becomes a little bit faster, right? Organically, right? It becomes faster because more people get to know who you are and they're more open to respond to what you have to share. And it just kind of start going like clockwork, right? And sometimes if you spend time and you pause from doing the organic stuff, when you start back, you got to start technically from zero, because, you know, LinkedIn doesn't just automatically push your content out to your whole network at one time. It push it out based on a small test sample. So it tests a small piece of your network, see if they're engaged with it, then it shows to a longer one, to a longer one, to a bigger one, to a bigger one, etc. And it also takes days sometimes. So my thing is, if you're just getting started with LinkedIn, don't worry too much about how much engagement you're getting. Focus more about creating consistency in putting our content and engaging with other people's content if you're doing it organically. But if you want to go fast, that's when you start investing in paid advertising, because now you're paying LinkedIn to put your content in front of thousands of people. And now you're going to get a faster reaction, because that's the difference between speed is the amount of exposure that you're getting, right? If you're getting a lot of exposure right away, then you're going to get a lot of response. People are going to be responsive to you. And if you're putting good content out, then you're going to consistently get responsive feedback. But if you're not, and you just kind of put things out that you think are good, but you're not even sure if that's the right thing to do, then you're not going to get anything. You know, and sometimes even if you get very small number of engagement, if it's great content, the right people see it, you're able to still get deals out of it.
All right. And what about the middle ground? Because organic is free, ads is paid, paid, but then you have the sales navigator in between, which is a subscription. Yeah. So you're paying, but you're not paying for ads, you're paying for access. So what about that? What should the expectation be for that?
Expectation with Sales Navigator, it comes down to how well you leveraging the targeting aspect. If you're identifying people that are posting in the past 30 days, you have a higher chance of getting people to reply back to you because they're more active. And if what you have to offer and how you approach them is the right way, because there's a right way to approach people on LinkedIn and there's the wrong way, right? You can't just say, hey, I do web design. Do you need anything done? You know, like, okay, no, I don't know you, probably not, right? But if you say, hey, I took a look at your website, I have some ideas for you. Would it be okay if I share a quick video to show you what you can do? Sure, I'm open to that. You know what I mean? Then you send a video and now you create an opportunity to follow up.
Right. It's almost like a mini proposal, like a mini
you're
proposal
giving value. Giving value up front, right? Like giving value up front puts you in a position where you can easily follow up. I mean, I'll give you a very simple example. There's a specific niche that I'm targeting. I found them on LinkedIn. I reached out to a few, and literally minutes later, I had about 10 appointments on my calendar, right? Because I said the right thing. I know their pain points. I hate their pain points. And I show them, hey, I actually have proof. You know, I've experimented with this. I know the type of results you're going to get, and I'm going to show you exactly what's going to happen.
Right. Absolutely. All right, guys. Now, I don't know about you, but I got some additional nuggets out of today's session. So I bet you guys did too. But guess what? They don't call him the LinkedIn guy for nothing. He knows his stuff. So you remember, his company does training for LinkedIn. All right. So I want you to please tell our audience about some of the training opportunities that you have out there, different ways that they can work with you.
Absolutely. One of the best and simplest way we have right now is our accelerator bundle. And basically it's a combination of my book, our mastermind group coaching once a month, and our online course that anybody can get advantage of. If they go to abrahamglobal.com/fire, FIRE, they'll be able to access that. Right now, we have a really great special at a really big discount, so 50% off. So any one of your audience that want to take advantage of that, go to abrahamglobal.com/fire, and they're able to get 50% off our online program and start diving into it, learning everything, and go and implement. I'll tell you, with someone that just read our book and applied one methodology, she got 2 clients from that alone. And guess what? Each of her clients is about $5,000. So she made 10 grand from an investment that's less than $1,000. Think about that.
That is absolutely amazing. Oh my goodness. I am so excited to have been able to do this interview with you. You guys, I don't know about you, but I think we should have Mr. Julbert Abraham back again. What do you think? I want you to be sure to leave some questions in the comment sections, or you can, if you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, be sure to send a voice message if you have additional questions. I just might be able to get him back to answer more. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me, Julbert. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I appreciate you. Please share. I know you know somebody who's an entrepreneur out there who could really benefit from all the advice that he's given us today. So do me the favor of sharing. Be sure to like, and if you're not already subscribed, please do. I'm Tanisha Coffey, aka The Lofty Entrepreneur, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye.